In this video, I'm going to be talking about 7 product management interview questions. My name is Oluwasegun Kolawole. I'm a tech career coach and a product manager. Welcome to Agile Mindset. Acing product management interview could be challenging at times. Maybe there are different questions that you might be given and there are certain answers they're expecting. Your interviewer at times would want specific answers from you or several coordination that is expected of you. You may not be able to pull this through if you are not able to give the answers they're expecting. In this video, I'm going to be discussing 7 product management questions that are common in the product management space. Number 1, tell us about yourself. This is a very common question that most interviewers would ask you when you get on interviews. Now, when you want to talk about this, interviewers most of the times ask you this question because they want to test how articulate you are, how well you can manage your time in expressing yourself within a short time. Avoid the urge to prolong this explanation. Maybe you're taking about 3 minutes, 5 minutes, that's too long. Make sure you keep this as simple as possible and do this in 2 minutes. First of all, talk about yourself, your name, and what you do, how long you've been in the space, maybe 5 years, 6 years. Talk about the companies you have worked at. After saying this, you then move into your key achievements in these companies. Once you're done with this, talk about your core values. Your core values as to how you have been able to drive this result that we're talking about as far as your introduction is concerned. Make sure you keep this simple and this should not last more than 2 minutes. And also tell them or let them know that you still have a lot to say, but because you want to save their time and you want to keep it straight, you're spending this particular amount of time. I would love to still talk about other things, but I believe in the course of interview, I will still be able to do this. Just keep it simple. Number 2, can you describe the products you've worked on from inception to launch? This is a very common question that you would get asked most often. Why do they ask this question? They ask this question just to know how you make your decision, how well you can talk about what you've done in the past. Another way of asking this question could be, talk about a product that you are most proud of. At this point, you might want to impress your interviewers. Okay, they want to hear something very cool about this. And I'm sure at this point, you probably have read some things around your core values and all. Make sure as you're describing your product launch experience, your product iteration experience, and everything you do from the inception into the product launch, ensure you insert their core values and transparency and some other things that they would like to hear inside of them. Some companies might have things like transparency, integrity, accountability, collaboration inside their core values. I believe you might want to leverage this kind of information as to what they want to hear from you. If you do this alongside your explanation, it will really help you in this interview because you will be able to say what they are expecting from you. Don't forget, it's all about the interviewer, what they want to hear, rather than all of the things you actually know. There's another question here. How do you handle a situation that has to do with disagreement between yourself and your stakeholders? I must tell you, this is a very tricky question that anybody can ask you. You shouldn't go all the way bragging about what you can do. It's wrong for you to say you go on with it and ask them or show them your results. It's important for you to tell the story. You can tell a story around how you've done it in the past, but why do they ask you this? They want to know how well you can align with people, how well you can make decisions, and how well you can convince people to do things or to do it right. I must tell you something, data don't lie. What do I mean by this? When you give data, facts, and all of these things, it will be able to give people a right perspective on what you're saying. Facts don't lie. It is all about facts over sentiment. If you get on interviews and you let them know that you don't make decisions because you feel like making those decisions. You make decisions based on facts. So it is facts over sentiment, and data are actually facts that everybody can see, and it is transparent. Everybody can use it to make a decision, which means you can let them know that for each of the things or decisions that you make, you don't just make them based on impulse or how you feel, you make them based on insights that you get from data. This is a very important way to answer this kind of question. Number 4, describe a time you have used data to make a decision. This is an important question that most people have been asked in product management interviews. And why do they ask this question? They actually want to know what powers your decision making when it comes to feature development. Are you just a product manager that is just interested in developing feature and all? Of course, they want to know how you can do it. So how do you answer questions like this? First of all, I want to remind you that storytelling is very important in interviews. I know you have heard this before. This is not something everybody has said over and over again. I can tell you for a fact, it's important. It gives you confidence. At the same time, it assures your interviewers that this person actually has a level of experience. If you have some level of experience at the job, you should be able to give us stories. You should be able to tell us the things you have done, and that's why they have requested this. How did you make this kind of decision past towards feature addition and all? And I must tell you, making data decision could be feature reduction, adjusting something in your marketing and all, and even sales strategy. Okay, let me give you an example. I used to work on a product and it had 5 stages of application. Users complained and logged a lot of feedback. The complaints from the users has been the stages of application has been too long and lengthy. What did we do at this point? We had to reduce some redundant data that we're taking and we reduced it to 3. I must tell you, this actually gave us better results. In another way, it could be things that you have to do in the marketing and all, and that's why it's important. While you're on the product, note your key achievements. There are companies that actually go into things like monthly performance review. They do it every month. You can document your achievements along the line and know where data is important for you. Answering data questions has to do with things that you did because you make decisions from something. Look at the result. Ensure you are able to pinpoint the result at the very end. The impact on the business, or the impact on the product team, or the impact on anything. There has to be a result around the data decision. Don't make the mistake of just explaining what you did and you're not able to say the impact of such decision. Question 5. How do you gather and analyze user feedback? These questions are questions that they ask you just to understand how you make your decision with product development and product innovation. Product innovation is an act of product improvement. These are things you do to your product to ensure there's growth in your product and there is impact that is continuously made on that product. There are things they're expecting from you. You have to talk about the channel that you used. You need to talk about how you communicated it with your development team. You need to talk about your deployments and how you are able to get it in the hands of the users. These are the kind of things they are expecting from you. So gathering this, what are the channels that you use in gathering this data? Is it through your support team? Do you use Jira? Do you use ITSM, which are the ticket management systems that platforms like Namecheap and several other platforms use where the chat support personnel? How do you gather this kind of data? Make sure you mention the channels. They are very, very important. That's the first thing. The second thing here is that you need to tell us how you communicated it. What's your internal team process like? You move it from the support manager. Do you do it yourself? Do you go ahead to get this data yourself? You need to talk about this. And how did you break it down? Now you need to talk about how you logged it, how you prioritize. How do you prioritize most of this? Because it is expected on the product that you should have new features coming in. You have bugs you need to fix and also optimization of your system. You need to discuss it. How do you bring it into the product development as well? How do you analyze them? That's number 2. Another thing you need to talk about is the impact of each of these features or this feedback that they are bringing. What is the impact of this feedback on your product? Is it going to affect you in the long run? These are the things that you consider before you put it into the prioritization category. Maybe you're using Moscow framework or even the RISE and several other frameworks that you're using to categorize or prioritize your products. Another thing to consider is the frequency of this data. So how frequent are people talking about these things? These are the things that guide you on what to work on per time and what not to work on. Another thing you can also explain is how you take this feedback in respect to how they are developed in the application. Maybe you put 70% for new features, 20% to handle your bugs, or 10% for optimization. You need to talk about these things in details. That way they know you understand what it means to take user feedback, analyze, then put it on products and how it impacts, then how you deliver it to the customer. Look at how Apple does their whole products iteration and all. They tell you from their release notes. So talk about your release note. Very important. When you create new features and all, you then put it into your release note. These are the new features we are adding. These are the optimization that we did, and these are the bugs that we have fixed. This is common to Apple software updates and several other platforms that we've seen. They always notify people about their updates. You might want to talk about this because it is relevant to data gathering and the analysis of user feedback. Question number 6. How would you improve our current product? Now I must tell you, this is a very important question because they expect that whoever they want to hire must know something about their product, has committed their product to heart, and is ready to work with them. Now, how do you answer this question? You might probably have learned from different channels before, or anybody you have listened to about product management interviews concerning how you need to read a lot about the company you are interviewing with. You know, it's very difficult to even get into interviews. I think if you have made so much effort, you have taken so much time to apply to as many as possible jobs, I believe it's important for you to read the job description, read a lot about the company, so you can play your cards rightly, so you can tell them things they want to hear. When you tell them a lot of things about their core values and the things they have done, read about the company's vision. If they have publicly declared that they want to move their company to a certain level, maybe they want to serve about 150,000 customers within a particular time frame. These are data and these are the kind of information you can leverage to come in. So talk about what you have in respect to the achievement of their vision and the product vision. So you put company vision as well as the product vision and your core skills that you are bringing to the table. Discuss all of this and I believe they will be willing to hear from you. Now the last question, why do you want us to hire you? This is a question that almost everyone has been asked, and are they expecting a certain answer from you? Well, they are not expecting a particular answer from you. They just want you to tell them what makes you different from every other candidate that has applied for that position. This is the time to leverage the kind of information you have already. Talk about your personal goals in respect to that company, how you will put in your best in respect to the company. So you have a personal goal to build your career to a certain level, and you think that company will definitely be able to give you. That is the first part. They want to see you in the organization. The second part would now be, what makes you different from every other candidate? Now we are egoistic about what we are asking from you. Why do you want us to hire you? You want to be hired because you bring the value to the table. It is a time to leverage all information you have about the company. Talk about their vision, blow their mind with all the information you have about them, their internal structure, how your core value aligns with them, how you love their work culture, and how you've always admired the things they do, and how your personal life goals apply, or how your personal life goal applies to that company, and the way you see that company achieving your overall goal. And you will be able to achieve the company's vision, your personal life goals, and the product vision. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.